Hello, this is Team 4, and we're here to give you a presentation on email security. And through email security, we're here to discuss the concepts of darkmail, perfect forward secrecy, and email encryption. And we're here to discuss with you what they are and how they work and how businesses will integrate them inside of their corporations. Now, to start it off, email encryption. Email encryption disguises or scrambles the plain text of an email message until it is decrypted. There are two main types of encryptions: TLS, which is transport layer security, and end-to-end security. Now, transport layer security uses the SMTP protocol, which initiates a TLS server, which does a handshake with another TLS-enabled server to launch a cipher suite. Using the RSA or Diffie-Hellman algorithm, the message is encrypted and signed by a message authentication code to be verified by the end user to test data authenticity. And with end-to-end, which is an asymmetric encryption protocol, it uses a private key and a public key. And by using this, the difference is how the key pair is obtained, which relies solely on a centralized trusted certificate authority to distribute public and private key pair. Encryption and decryption process is handled by the users. Only the sender and recipient can read the message. And encryptions are oftentimes looked at as secrets, and perfect forward secrecy was made to address the vulnerability of your secrets getting compromised. A piece of encryption automatically and frequently creates a new key. If a key is compromised, it limits the effects and does not compromise past sessions of a message. In 2014, Darkmail was launched by LavaBit producer Ladar Levision to implement a new email protocol that will provide end-to-end encryptions for individual users across a new email protocol, and in which this protocol will hide and or cloak email metadata from NSA and or any other backdoor entity. This will limit the amount of exploits that the government and or NSA will have to snoop around your email or information through your email. This will be of great use for companies in the future, which should also be implemented into organizations immediately, as it will help limit the amount of information compromises among email transfers and data transfers. Now on to email security.
This next section will look at business concerns and applications for email security. Why businesses should care about email security. Obviously, businesses will be concerned with cyber attacks. Cyber attacks have a lasting impact on a business's bottom line, reputation, and relationships. Some statistics regarding cyber attacks: 43% of small businesses are affected. Cybercrime damages are estimated to cost up to $6 trillion annually by 2021. And information loss is the most expensive component of a cyber attack, accounting for 43% of costs involved. In addition to being concerned about cyber attacks, businesses have to think about the new laws and regulations that are implemented with the goal of protecting consumer data. Some existing laws are the California Consumer Privacy Act of 2018, the General Data Protection Regulation from the European Union, the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act from the US, and HIPAA from the US. Obviously, there are additional laws both at the international, federal, and state level. Businesses will also have to think about industry-level standards and regulations. As businesses assess their security needs and are deciding on the best email security measures and practices, they need to think about level of security, what needs to be protected and why, ease of implementation, how difficult or easy it will be to adopt, including things like cost, time, and personnel, and ease of use. In this case, how will it affect the communication between those sending and receiving a message? This next slide considers the different email encryption options available for business. It'll look at type, pros and cons, and providers. For transport layer security, TLS, the pro is that it's widely available and easy to use, protects from man-in-the-middle attacks, and often implements perfect forward secrecy. Con is that it does not protect the message when it's received and stored, so data at rest is not protected. Also, both the sender and the receiver need to use TLS protocol. Providers for TLS is kind of the default encryption for major emails like Gmail and Outlook, so companies just need to enable it. For encryption at rest, the pro is that it picks up where TLS leaves off. So it's going to protect the data on the server that's stored and not in use. Con is that the keys are often held in a centralized location, making them more vulnerable. Also, it needs to be paired with TLS to make sure the message is protected both in transit and at rest. There are commercially available providers and also cloud-based options from companies like Microsoft and Google. End-to-end encryption. The biggest pro of end-to-end encryption is that it's the most secure. Data is secured in transit and at rest, and only the sender and the recipient are able to read the email. Con is that it can be more difficult for end users. There are also challenges associated with key management, and filters can miss malicious entity if it's only checked at the server. Email providers include ProtonMail, Microsoft, Tutanota, MailFence, and Hushmail. There are other options out there. Those are probably just the most well-known. In terms of Darkmail, anticipated pros are that it's reported to be designed around security and ease of use. It will also allow the user to adjust the level of security based on their needs. Con is that it's still in development. It hasn't been widely launched or used. Also, it could possibly conflict with government agency and laws that concern encryption use. Right now, the only provider and the creator is Darkmail Alliance. Overall, businesses need to be aware of the vulnerability of communicating on an unsecure channel like email. Security procedures and policies for an organization should outline when the email should be encrypted, how, and by whom.
So here's the future of email security and encryption. So what's to come? Current secure email technology requires recipients to either log in to an encrypted portal with system-specific credentials, or they use other single sign-on credentials. But there's a better way to secure our communications. We have access to the technology for this, but it just hasn't been implemented yet. So currently, the majority of our emails are sent through SMTP over TLS, Transport Layer Security Connection. But later, it could be common for this to be required for all emails. Also, probably soon, we will have an adoption of IPsec, IP security. Currently, IPv6 mandates this, so we'll probably see more of the backbone of the internet be encrypted as a standard. So what does this mean for the future? It means that these companies have to adopt the new standards, whether they like it or not, in order to stay relevant. They can't abandon email as a whole because of how important it is to everybody. SMIME, secure multi-purpose internet mail extension signatures, and encryption will also be more heavily adopted. The main problem with this is that senders and recipients have to have up-to-date certificates that need to be renewed annually. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, has introduced a proposal for the future. It uses the DANE protocol to securely store all users' SMIME certificates in the DNS. SMIME satisfies the conditions of authenticity of email messages, so you can tell when you get like a phishing email or a scamming email that it is a scamming or phishing email, so you have to deal with it for a long period of time. So in conclusion, encryption and overall email security will become embedded in protocols, and it'll become a complete standard for the future. And here is the works cited.